Hey,
Hello,
everyone.
guys.
Sorry for the delay. I am running the meeting. Natalia is in between, in transit from work, from the office to home. So this one's on me. I will do the best I can. I think I should make some people co-hosts, right? To
Yes.
help that Vito. Let me make you a co-host. There we go. Make co-host. I'll make Jenna I should make every council member a
Yes.
co-host, right?
That way we're easier to find as well, Steve.
Yeah, so let me just make everyone a co-host here. Jen, Elizabeth. My co-host. Welcome, Yona, to your first CEC meeting.
Hi, everyone.
And Kevin, make co-host. Li Ping.
May I request that all of the co-hosts, council members rename themselves to their real names?
What are they showing? They're not showing as real names?
Well, so it depends. So instead of iPhone Elizabeth, just Elizabeth, so I could just go down and make it easier so everybody knows who everybody is.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay, I think I've got everyone, every council member. See Elizabeth, Jen, Yona, Kevin, Li Ping, Marie, Vito, myself. I know that Joyce cannot make it. I have not heard from Gada or Maya.
Are you showing as a D20 CEC 20?
Yeah, that's me.
May I rename you? Oh, you can't. You have to rename yourself.
Let me do this here. All right, hold on a second.
Thank you, Stephen.
There it is.
Vito, forgive me. How do I rename myself on an iPhone?
Oh, well, hold on.
Fine, Marie. You're fine. It says Marie S. You're fine.
Okay.
Everyone else is good there.
Okay.
I think we're good, and I think we have quorum. And let's get. I think we should get this going.
Yes, I can do roll call.
Go for it, please. I call the meeting to order at 5:07.
President Steve Stowe,
Here.
Vice President Jennifer Hugh,
Here.
Second Vice President Elizabeth Chan,
Here.
Recording Secretary Vito Labella, present. Borough Appointee Marie Brugados,
Here.
thank you. Council Members Gada Amin, no. Okay, Michelle excused. Council Member Yona Isufi,
Here.
did I butcher your name?
It's Yona. Very
Yona
close, though. Thank you.
Isufi, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Li Ping is excused.
Oh, Li
Li
Ping's
Ping?
here.
Li
Li Ping's
Ping?
here.
Here. Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hey, Li Ping.
Joyce Z,
Excused.
okay. Maya Rosenblatt. Kevin
Not
Zhao.
here.
Maya's here?
Not here.
Oh, not here. Kevin Zhao. Kevin
Yeah.
Zhao.
I'm here.
Hey,
I'm here.
Kevin. Thank you.
Yep.
Steve, back to you.
Okay, let's, the agenda for tonight is pretty straightforward. We just have 3 resolutions that we did not have time to go over at our last calendar meeting, so we wanted to get through those here tonight. First, an administrative note, we apologize. We were not given the short notice of this meeting. We were not able to arrange for translation. We will do our best to speak slower. And if anyone has questions, please feel free to use the chat. Ask a council member to repeat something. That's fine. What I'd like to do is have about 15 minutes or so for each resolution. We don't need to use all the time. but we'll just go sequentially. The first resolution is the resolution on middle school admissions. The second resolution is on a proposed chancellor's regulation D-210, which would regulate CEC members. And the third resolution is a request to the Department of Education to release the results of the school survey from last spring. So I will try and share my screen to pull up the resolutions. Does that show? Do we show the middle school admissions resolution?
We do.
Great. Vito, you're the brains behind this one. Do you want to talk through it a little bit?
Yes, so while we go down, I don't know, are we supposed to read it word for word into the record?
We don't, as you know,
Oh,
we
we don't.
rarely
Okay.
read them into the record. We can if.
No, I just
yeah.
want to go through them. So, recently the city did in fact announce middle school screens. They also announced their plan for high school screens. When they did, we feel, based on this resolution, we feel that that was a last minute kind of going out the door kind of a decision, that decision should best be left to the incoming administration, both the mayor-elect and the incoming chancellor. And of course, we list some of the whys and wherefores, why we believe that. Specifically, we go all the way down, we see that they are allowing middle school screens for talent. That would be talent similar to what Mark Twain does, acting, dance, music, visual arts, creative arts, any of those kind of talents. And as opposed to last year, they are allowing those schools to screen this year. So now that's the background. If we would go down to the whereas, wherefores, therefores, thank you very much. So when we created the school, and we need to make some changes in here, we have to make a motion that the school is arts off third, not arts on third. So we have to change that in the resolution. And when that school was created, it was created to retain students who were otherwise auditioning for and going to Mark Twain Middle School in Coney Island, which is a fabulous citywide school. It focuses on the arts, as we all know. And we were never able to get permission to screen the arts off third school. So in this resolution, since the chancellor has said that middle schools can have auditions, we are requesting that we start initiating auditions for arts off third, because when the school was created, that was the intention, and the intention was to retain our arts kids. Similarly, years and years ago, I think 1994, Christa McAuliffe Intermediate School was established for that same reason. Mark Twain was pulling a lot of our kids, Hunter High School, Hunter Middle School and high school together, was pulling a lot of our kids out of District 20, not to mention the kids who are going to schools like Genesis, which is a private Catholic middle school, very highly regarded. So the reason that we have Christa McAuliffe is to retain parents in District 20 in public schools who looking for an advanced screen program like we offer. So now, taking into account that high schools can currently screen for their incoming students, we feel, and it's expressed in this resolution, that there is no reason why middle schools can't screen using similar metrics. And those metrics would be 5th grade grades, the first marking period, and possibly we could use also the iReady assessments given sometime after the new year that would be specifically for individual children who want to apply to these screened schools. So I believe that is the whole crux of the resolution. That is the why, and that is what we are requesting. Steve, do you think I forgot anything?
Yeah, I would just add this additional therefore, which therefore CEC 20 further suggests that screening methods could incorporate an algorithm to add bonus points based on income the IEP status, ELL status, and other criteria to ensure that a diverse mix of populations are represented. And I think that was an important part of the
Thank you,
resolution
Steve.
as well.
Let me also mention that previous years, we had a 5% requirement, a 5% metric for lateness and a 5% metric for attendance. That should have been eliminated a long time ago. That is eliminated now, and that what Steve just mentioned would be, I think, a fitting replacement for those two metrics that I agree should never have been there in the first place.
Do any council members have questions or would like to make statements on this resolution? Let me try, and I've got to get back to,
Oh, Steve, I just want to ask you, what did you say about, you were saying eliminated income requirements, or you're for it?
no, you could add, you could adjust the screening process to take into account families with lower income, take into account a student's IEP status, ELL status, increase their chances, in other words.
Or a set aside. I mean, that could
Yep.
be resolved, or
Set
set
aside,
aside for a certain percentage.
For a certain percentage? I think that should be added into that. Like, if you're gonna do income, because
So
You
that would
know.
be a set aside for free reduced lunch?
no, just like one thing that I like about New York City now is that they give free lunch to every kid regardless of income. So I really don't like that income being put in. But if it's for a percentage, then that's fine.
And this is fairly general, Elizabeth, but yeah,
Yeah, because
Um,
like I just feel like a lot of like once people get into the middle class, I feel like they're getting pushed out of the public school system in New York City, especially in our neighborhood.
so I think the answer is a set aside of some, which is what
Okay,
many
yeah.
schools and districts do, right? That many do this in New York
Yeah,
City.
yeah, no, I just want to just to clarify your
Yeah.
position.
So should we
Yeah.
change, can we make a motion to change bonus points to a as yet to be determined set aside?
Yes. And I don't think we need to even get into the specifics, like
Yeah.
try and it's,
Should we say then an or should we say, or just use that?
so the motion, so let's,
We could just discuss it first before you do a motion. What does everybody think? Do you want like add bonus points and or just get rid of add bonus points altogether?
I think it's good to keep our options open, so an and or might work.
Yeah, I like and or.
yeah.
Anybody? Steve, are you tracking changes somehow?
So, yeah, so we have to make a resolution, or we have to make a motion to amend it. Yes, I can track the motion to, so is there a motion to amend that, that clause?
So I make a motion to amend the therefore be it resolved CEC 20 further suggests that screening methods could also incorporate an algorithm to add bonus points. I make the motion to amend it to add and or a specific set aside is yet to be determined.
Seconded.
All in favor of that amendment?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so that motion passes.
We need to make a motion about the name.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion that the name of the MS 936 Middle School be changed to show reference that it is the Arts Off Third Middle School, MS 936, not the Arts On Third Middle School.
I second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, so that amendment also passes. Any more council members like to speak on this resolution? scroll through. And I think what we'll do is we'll follow standard procedure here and we'll go through the resolutions and have council members comment, and then we will open it up for public comment on all the resolutions before we vote. Okay, so let's move on to this. If it's okay, I'll move on to the second resolution. Everyone can still see, now they see resolution D 210, right?
Yes.
I'm still sharing. I'm still good here. Okay, so I'll talk about this resolution. This is this would be a new chancellor's regulation. The panel for educational policy is going to debate and presumably vote on this tomorrow night at their meeting. We oppose this regulation. We believe it should be withdrawn, or the PEP should vote no on this regulation. The title of this regulation is the, just to minimize the screens, is the Citywide and Community Education Council Code of Conduct and Complaint Procedures, Anti-Discrimination and Anti-Harassment Policy. This is a very common political maneuver to title a piece of legislation or a regulation something that is very agreeable and very noble. But when you read the details of the regulation, it's very concerning. For example, there is the regulation outlines what CEC members can say, what they cannot say, where they can say it. It applies to a very broad set of circumstances involving not just CEC members, but who they know, who they associate with. And the burden of proof for a violation of this regulation is very low. A lot of the language in here is vague and subjective. For example, on the screen right now, you can see that council members shall not engage in conduct that serves to harass, intimidate, or threaten, including but not limited to frequent verbal abuse and unnecessary aggressive speech that serves to intimidate and causes others to have concern for their personal safety. How do we define what is unnecessary aggressive speech? How do we define aggressive, for that matter? Who defines it? How can a speaker control what someone else feels? If someone says something that causes others to have concern for their personal safety, that's an extremely, the burden of proof is extremely low. It opens the door to almost anyone saying, I fear for my personal safety when a council member says something I don't like. Further, this clause, prohibit retaliation. And the definition of retaliation is any adverse act. That's extremely broad. What's an adverse act? How do you define what is adverse? It applies to an extremely broad range of instances. This section talks about what verbal and physical acts are prohibited and where they're prohibited. And you can see here, it's not just prohibited at CEC meetings or CEC events, but it's, as subsection E says, other activities when such conduct creates or would foreseeably create a risk of disruption within the district or school community the council member serves. Defining and predicting how speech or actions will be taken in the future and will they create a risk of disruption is impossible. And all this does is it gives the DOE a very, very easy lever to call out a CEC member for violating this regulation. Furthermore, this applies to other organizations that the CEC member associates with. Council members shall not cause any person, entity, or organization with which they are affiliated to promote or engage in conduct that would violate this regulation. How do we define if a council member causes someone they know to say something or do something? How is that proven? So with such concerns over the language, it seems necessary to have a strong structure in place. That's why we have in the United States, we have a legal system in place. Well, what's the equivalent here? This is a new regulation, which the DOE is allowed to issue regulation. Fine. What is the mechanism to ensure that this regulation is carried out fairly? Here it is. We have a new position created. The DOE is proposing to create an equity compliance officer. This is one individual. We don't know anything about how this position is hired. We believe it's hired by the DOE. They've also created a new body called the FACE Equity Council. This is defined as a group of parents from community education councils and the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council. The Equity Compliance Officer has complete power to decide who is in violation of this and who is not. The Equity Council can provide advice. But at the end of the day, it's up to one person, the Equity Compliance Officer, to decide. There's no accountability for this individual. I'll touch on that in a second. And there's no information about who makes up this FACE Equity Council. What can happen if you violate this regulation? Education Law 2590-L, council members could be suspended, censured, or removed. And this regulation also adds that if you get removed under this regulation, you can no longer serve on any CEC or school or district Title I Parent Advisory Council. So it's an effective ban for life for violating this regulation. Is there an appeal process? No. They've called it conciliation. But let's look at conciliation. Essentially, if the chancellor wants to kick a council member off a council, the chancellor can do so, even with this so-called conciliation process. This language was copied from the regulation. The chancellor may suspend or remove a council member without an opportunity for conciliation if the conduct is criminal in nature, fine, poses an immediate danger to the safety or welfare of any students, fine, or in the judgment of the chancellor is contrary to the best interest of the New York City School District. You can drive a truck through that exemption. This is a very simple resolution to weigh in on, and I hope you all agree with me. Furthermore, one final point that didn't get written in here is this is effectively asking the Department of Education to take over for state law. State law governs CECs. We are all elected. The majority of us are elected pursuant to state law. State law determines CEC responsibilities, who sits on the CEC, when CEC members can be removed. So this regulation intrudes into that area. It's okay for regulations to sometimes mirror, work in tandem with laws, but ultimately the law governs. And I'm not a lawyer, but I have no doubt that this regulation would have a very hard time standing up to a legal challenge. So our belief is this is a poorly written regulation. It's a very poor example of a fair governance process for community education councils, and it either needs to be withdrawn by the Department of Education or the PEP will hopefully vote it down tomorrow night. So I've talked enough. Does anyone have any questions or want to make any statements about this resolution?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Kevin.
CEC, like you just said, CEC is under the state law. I mean, but this regulation basically say CEC gonna take control. That's, I mean, even though you didn't say that, but that's basically what it means to me. So what, I mean, who come up with this regulation? Department of Education?
Yeah, like I said, it's the Department of the Department of Education can issue regulations. That's within their purview.
Okay.
This particular one, this is a big issue I have with this. This came up. This was released back in November, I believe, and it really came out of nowhere. You would think that if the Department of Education was working on a code of conduct for CECs, that they would involve CECs. They didn't. At least they didn't involve this CEC. And they didn't involve some other CECs I know. I'd be willing to bet that they did involve certain CECs. But I also think it was just written out of, I think more than anything, this is coming from the Department of Education. It's coming from, just like Vito said a minute ago, there's a lot of initiatives coming out in the last month or two of the current administration. And I think they're really just trying to push as much into the system as they can before they're out the door. And I believe that's what this is.
Okay. My second question actually is, what other bodies are overseeing the Department of Education besides CEC?
That's what we're going to get to, Kevin. You're previewing for next month's meeting because I've got the resolution started on school governance, and this is a big topic that has to. But it's mayoral control, right?
Yes.
The panel for educational policy, on paper, is supposed to be the body that's providing the governance for the City of New York school system, but in reality, the panel for educational policy, the majority of the members are appointed by the mayor.
Right.
They serve at the mayor's bidding, at the pleasure of the mayor. It's a strong mayor system we have in this city.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So all we can do tomorrow night, and I plan to speak on this tomorrow night, all we can do is ask that the individuals on the PEP will vote to vote this regulation down, despite what their 9 of them are appointees of the mayor. The other 5, there's 5 that are appointed by borough presidents, and then there's 1 that the CEC presidents elect. I should say, and the chancellor also serves on the PEP. So
Okay. Is the meeting open to public or it's only for PEP?
it's public. Yeah, it's public. I would encourage everyone to attend, to sign in, sign up, and I believe. Don't quote me. I'm not. I can't right now remember the rules of order for who speaks in what order. It may be limited to CEC presidents and other member, but don't quote me on that. But I would encourage everyone to go and join, and we can all email. And our plan is with this resolution to pass this resolution tonight and then email it to the PEP members tomorrow, email it to everyone on the CEC mailing list. And there have been a number of other statements made in public, concerns around this resolution. We'll see what happens tomorrow. All we can do is state our position. Okay. Any other comments on this resolution?
Hello, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. When I was reading this, I did notice that you are totally right when pointing out that it does give one person a lot of control. And this definitely does not look like something that, like a lot of this points, it doesn't look like they can be proved. And also us as CEC members, we cannot control, for example, somebody's behavior if they are, let's say, mad at a regulation or if they have a certain sentiment. So it does put a lot of pressure on, how we would represent ourselves or the parents. So I think it's a great idea to actually, go through with this. Because it does seem from what I'm seeing from the short time that there isn't that many places where parents can actually be heard. So to have another kind of entity, that really did not click with me when I read this. So thank you for putting this together.
Thanks, Fiona.
I just want to say that like we are elected officials, and if the person and the committee that they create is appointed, and we know that the chancellor is appointed, we shouldn't be answering to somebody who is an appointee. We should be answering to our constituents, which are the people who voted for us. And they're circumventing the parental will by, being able to just remove any member they want from the mayor's office. So that's my biggest issue with it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Jen. Anyone else, or should we move on to the final one? Let's move
No,
on.
I want to say something. I don't believe in it because I feel like we're such a diverse body of people that we shouldn't be able, like, people shouldn't be able to stifle our what we think. And sometimes emotions will get heated. So I don't want in the future or like any time that somebody will regulate our speech, because New York City should be a place of free speech. And we should be able to say it freely without people stopping us. That's all. I agree with you.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Actually, I think Jen's point is very good that CEC members are elected. They shouldn't be removed by any appointees. Is it possible we can add that into the resolution?
Wait, say that again, Kevin?
I was saying that I think it's Jennifer, right? Her point is that CEC members are elected. We shouldn't be answering to any appointees from the administrative system. So, do we want to add this into our resolution?
Right. So we could. I'm just looking and thinking about how to. Yeah, we could definitely add something in. Let me just go to the place where I think it should go. Violation allows the DOE to remove the regulation states. If we put it in a second to last, right before this last whereas, and we said, whereas CEC members are elected by parents pursuant to state law members, CEC members are not CEC member positions are not, how about this? CEC members do not serve at the pleasure of the mayor. They are, they serve at the will of the public. So CEC members are elected by parents pursuant to state law. CEC members do not serve at the pleasure of the mayor. They serve at the will of the public. They serve,
Steve, I would add at the pleasure of the mayor and or his appointees.
yeah. Okay. Okay. They serve at the will of the public through the election process. So I'll just make a motion to add this clause and I'll read it. So I make a motion to add the following clause. Whereas CEC members are elected by parents pursuant to state law, CEC members do not serve at the pleasure of the mayor and or the mayor's appointees. They serve at the will of the public through the election process. They serve at the will of the public through the election process and through established state law, section 2590. Because that's what governs CECs. And this is just the Department of Education's attempt to insert itself into that process. So is there a second to add that clause to the resolution?
Seconded.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Hi.
So let's move on because I do want to get some time if there's any members of the public that want to speak. The last resolution is very short, but this came up as I was working on thinking about both the governance resolution and also thinking about the district leadership team meeting next month. At the district leadership team meeting, we're supposed to come up with quantitative goals for the district, and you're supposed to look at the most recent data for the district. As everyone knows, the city does an annual survey. The last survey is from school year 2019-2020. The survey that was taken last spring is not available. The website says results for the 2021, for the 2021 New York City school survey will be available later this year. We've asked our superintendent multiple times. We've been told that it's coming, it's coming. It's not. And the resolution is very simple. It says, because the survey is such a valuable analytical tool encompassing a large sample of New York City parents, students, and teachers, it's one of the most objective methods of assessing citywide and district performance, parent, teacher, and student satisfaction. The survey is also vital for completing the district comprehensive educational plan. And just anecdotally speaking, it's an extremely useful tool for understanding. It's one of the best tools for understanding what's going on in the district, because think about it. We have our meetings and maybe there's a few parents who speak and maybe we talk to a few principals, but you're not going to get the thousands of responses that you'll get on a survey. And so the survey really is the best way to get a high level view of what's going on in the district. The skeptic in me says they're withholding it because there's unfavorable information in there. They don't like what it says. We want it released. And so this resolution just simply asks that the DOE immediately release publicly the results of the school year 2020-2021 school survey. Oh, another thing, I know that it's been released publicly to schools. I've seen a copy of a particular school's survey, and so they're hiding it. Any questions on that?
Steve, what do you mean it was released to schools?
Schools have it.
So all of our schools have this stuff?
I
The
can't
entire
say
thing
all
or just
do, but I've seen
Okay.
a schools version, and I've seen it with the district next to it. The information's published.
So then if this passes, let's just do a FOIL request on behalf of the E CEC.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is just sort of formalizing next steps on this to say, let's take, obviously, we're not going to get the answers we're looking for, just asking for it nicely. Any other questions, comments on this one, or should we open it for public? Let me try and get back to here. Okay. If there's anyone on the call who would like to speak, any members of the public? First of all, there's a sign up for Natalia. Are you on now?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Natalia.
Hi.
Did anyone sign up using the form?
I was looking, no one signed up using the form and
Okay.
it's been open.
So if anyone would like to speak on any of these resolutions, the resolution on middle school admissions, the resolution on Chancellor's Regulation D210, or the resolution on the school survey, you can either raise your hand or put your name in the chat. The chat should be open, right? The chat's open. And we will take the vote in answer to the question in the chat. We will vote on these resolutions immediately following public comment. So once we've allowed everyone to speak, we will vote on all three resolutions and then follow our standard practice, which is to send them to our mailing list tomorrow and follow up. And that's something that FACE has been a little more helpful this year, following up on our resolutions, trying to get answers to some of them. And it's especially valuable to have the resolution passed for tomorrow night's PEP meeting, so that we can say we have a council position on this. Anyone else like to speak on this or have any questions about these? Okay. I will make a motion to vote on the middle school admissions resolution as amended. Is there a second?
Second,
Natalia, can you take a roll call vote on that?
Okay. So Steve Stowe.
In favor.
Okay. Jennifer Hu.
In favor.
Okay. Elizabeth Chan.
In favor.
Rita Labella.
in favor.
Okay. Marie Brugueras.
In favor.
Okay. Yona Isufi.
In favor.
Okay. Li Ping Zhang.
In favor.
Okay. Joyce. Kevin Zhao.
In favor.
Okay. That's a unanimous yes. So it's 8 yeses.
The resolution passes. So the next vote, I'll make a motion to hold a vote on the second resolution, which is Chancellor's Regulation, proposed Chancellor's Regulation D-210. Is there a second?
I second.
Second, okay. Natalia, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Okay, Steve Stowe.
In favor?
Okay, Jennifer Hu.
In favor.
Elizabeth Chan.
In favor.
Okay, Vito Labella.
In favor.
Marie Brugueras.
In favor.
Okay, Yona Isufi.
In favor.
Okay, Li Ping Zhang.
In favor.
Okay, Kevin Zhao.
In favor.
Okay, it's another unanimous.
Great.
Okay,
And then the final vote will be on the resolution requesting the DOE to release the results of the spring survey. I'll make a motion to call a vote on that resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of holding a vote? Aye.
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 Natalia, can you please take a vote?
Steve Stowe.
In favor?
Okay, Jennifer Hu.
In favor.
Okay, Elizabeth Chan.
In favor.
Vito Labella.
In favor.
Right, Marie Brugueras.
In favor.
Okay, Yona Isufi.
In favor.
Okay, Li Ping Zhang.
In favor.
Okay, Kevin Zhao.
In favor.
Okay, it's another unanimous.
Okay, thanks, everyone. And with that, I believe, unless anyone else has anything that they want to raise, we have a few minutes left here. Any council members have any other issues you'd like to just actually, officially, we're only supposed to discuss what's on the agenda. So if anyone would like to make a motion to add something to the agenda, go ahead. Otherwise, I will motion to conclude the meeting. Okay, I will make a motion to conclude the meeting. Is there a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
All right. Thank
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night, and we will talk soon.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
guys.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.